The other day, I came across a clip of some Marines playing a first-person shooter. They moved as a unit, watched each other's blind spots, used walls for cover, flashbangs to confuse the enemy, and proceeded to wipe out every other player on the map. The problem with this type of gameplay is that it's boring to watch. Yes, it is efficient, and it is the proper way to engage in urban warfare between enemy units, but it is slow and monotonous. It is far more fun to watch gamers do crazy shit. The thing is, we know it's crazy to try and do something like that in real life. But what happens when your real life winds up in a game? Well, then everyone in that game thinks you're crazy. Welcome once again to Musings by Danon. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Danon. I'm currently reading over 600 manga and light novel series, and my two favorite genres are fantasy and romance. So on this channel, we talk a lot about both of those genres, but we tend to look more into story structure and tropes, rather than how cool the fight scenes are, or how great the animation or artwork is. Which brings me to the subject of today's video, gamers in Isekai. But before we get started, I'd like to quickly ask you to like and subscribe. It really does help the channel, and it's free. With that out of the way, let's get into the video. After confirming that she is in fact level 99, Yumelia Dolkness is summoned before the king. She explains how she got to level 99. Everyone is shocked. She then explains it again the next day at school, teaching everyone how to power level. Okay, let me explain that term. In the video game that she was isekai'd into, the only way to gain experience and level up is by killing monsters. In a lot of MMOs and older single-player RPGs, this was also the case. Sure, you could get some quest experience, but for the most part, leveling up was done by grinding mobs. In vanilla World of Warcraft, back when the game was run by Blizzard and not Activision, there was a leveling method called AoE grinding. It was mostly done by mages, but you could do it as a protection paladin if you knew what you were doing, and you built your character correctly. I taught my wife how to do it back in the day, and she used that method to accidentally kill an undead rogue down in Stranglethorn Vale while she was questing. And don't come at me with your whole, rogues can beat any class in the game crap. I used to regularly kill rogues as a protection paladin. Get good, scrub. Speaking of grinding mobs, I've started streaming on Twitch. There's a link down below in the video description, but the address is twitch.tv/DanonWildfire. Feel free to swing by. I'm usually playing Final Fantasy XIV for the first half of the stream, but I'm also planning on reading manga and working on videos while on stream as well. Swing by if you get the chance or if you want to ask some questions. In a video game, when you die, you can simply resurrect again. With a few exceptions, of course. It's a game after all. You can try crazy things in games. Practicing to accomplish tasks that would be impossible for regular humans to achieve is normal in video games. Solo pulling a dozen or two monsters isn't something anyone who wants to survive will do. Recreating Miles' leap of faith isn't something a human body can handle. But when you're playing the hero, you get to do crazy things. You can waltz into the Red Circle Club and shoot all the bad guys. You can cut your way through an army of Sith or Yellow Turbans. You can take on the Flood and the Covenant at the same time, or walk into hell and slaughter demons in your wake. Gamers defeated the Robot Masters, knocked out Tyson, and saved the princess. We don't have time for normal. So what happens when you put someone who has been performing death-defying feats for years inside of an isekai? And how will other people react? Well, let's take a closer look at Villainess level 99 and the reaction everyone had to her training regimen. Like most anime based on video games, you can only wear one item in a specific slot. So even though Mr. T taught us otherwise, you can only wear one necklace at a time. At least in this game world. There are two necklaces in this world, the Amulet of Protection and the Amulet of Growth. Everyone with even a lick of common sense uses the Amulet of Protection. After all, no one wants to die, and the Amulet of Protection prevents you from dying. Meanwhile, the Amulet of Growth merely doubles your experience gain. The idea of risking your life for just a little bit more experience is insane. What kind of person would do that? A gamer. And no one would ever go into a dungeon by themselves. Monsters come from all directions. You need a team of people helping you. A frontline tank, backline damage dealers, midliners to call out incoming and support where needed, and healers to keep everyone alive. And even then, everyone is wearing an amulet of protection. Also, there are more than enough monsters in the dungeon, so using a monster summoning flute is completely insane. Of course, this was the technique Yumelia used to level up, and when she explained this method to her schoolmates, they all looked at her with abject horror. Later that week, she was asked to act as an observer during the field training exercise, the goal of which is to level up all the students so they can help protect their territory from monsters. But Yumelia felt that the training was going too slow, so she pulled out her trusty monster summoning flute. Again, and again, and again. After all, this is the most efficient way to level. As I watched this scene, it reminded me of other Isekai series where a gamer is pulled into the world they know so well and winds up freaking everyone out in it. A prime example of this is Reborn as a Space Mercenary. I woke up piloting the strongest starship. Captain Hero wakes up on the ship he designed, built, and played with for years in his favorite video game, Stella Online. He awoke with the knowledge of how to pilot his ship ingrained into his body. He wasn't using a mouse and keyboard anymore, but all of his experience piloting from a computer was translated when he got isekai'd. And because Hero started as a gamer, he got used to piloting as if it were a game. So now everyone thinks of him as crazy. In fact, later on in the series, he gets the nickname Captain Psycho. There are other gaming isekai, but they really don't fit the trope of what I'm talking about. No Game No Life, for example, our characters are expert gamers, and they get pulled into a world where games resolve all problems. But no one thinks their actions are insane, just that they're good at games. Overlord and How Not to Summon a Demon Lord are both examples of being stuck in an MMO, but the main characters are both just absurdly overpowered compared to most of the rest of the world. Their power levels are insane, but their actions and attitudes aren't really so far out of the norm that people question their sanity. And Log Horizon doesn't have any instances of this trope, because you had thousands of gamers getting isekai'd into the MMO that many of them had been playing for a decade. So there's no normal to compare their behavior to. Except that the gamers all appear crazy to the people of the land. What Log Horizon has is gamers all coming together and former NPCs not knowing how to interact with them, because they're weird and incomprehensible. There's this great arc where the leaders of Akiba and the Round Table Alliance meet with the people of the land in a major diplomatic conference. Afterwards, they bring the princess back to Akiba where she requests their aid. A massive goblin invasion is coming and she needs their help. The princess is sure that this is some sort of joke. They had her dress up in a silly costume and parade around with silly lights. These people are crazy. There's no way this plan will work. Except that it does. The players are all ecstatic. They just got a quest issued from an actual princess dressed as a Valkyrie. There isn't a gamer in the world who would say no to that request. After all, deep down, we all want to save the princess. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, a huge shout out to my editor Cute Stuff. I couldn't make these videos without her. If you'd like to hire her to edit your own videos, she can be reached at cutestuff.edits@gmail.com. Link is down below. If you're looking for ways to support the channel directly, you can head on over to patreon.com/Damon. There are several tiers to choose from. You can pick an anime or manga for me to do a video about, or you can join our monthly manga club. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to all of my patrons: Jiraiya, Danny, Muffins, Marcus, Squishy, Brett, Roxy, Sean, Pob Zombie, Mark, Borgie, Nazwin, Pedro, Tom, Midge, Tetroff, Rally, Frank, Alex, Jenny, Alex, Julio, and Michael. You guys are awesome. I post anime or manga videos often, or you can click here to watch additional videos. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again next time on Musings by Danon.